Welcome to my channel. Tonight's video is about a free-to-play rune value system, but I will also try to include some pay-to-play tips along the way as well. So to start things off, before I can really begin talking about values of runes, I sort of need to talk about the roles of monsters first. Now the game may have hundreds of different monsters, but they all sort of fall into the role categories such as attackers, tanks, deniers, and support. Now yes, there are some other roles monsters can play, such as anticipator or reviver, stuff like that. And some monsters can even be multiple roles in one. But I basically just need you to comprehend the four core roles in order to value your runes. One role that all monsters share is the ability to collect gold, and in my opinion, whether you're free to play or pay to play, ignoring the fact that all monsters have the potential to collect gold more effectively when wearing gold runes can cost you dearly. Many pay-to-play players don't even realize how dependent on the pass to provide them double gold and double food they become, almost unable to play joyfully without those boosts. And free-to-play often find themselves so broke that they feel no way to keep up. The food boost the pass provides basically doubles over as an additional gold boost for spenders, considering that all it takes to make food free to play is more gold. I've met and already began to pass plenty of spenders who claim they don't need gold. I myself, as a free to play when active, make around 120 mil gold a day in just 10 months playtime. I say this to give you the ability to judge if I know what I'm talking about or not. So first off, let me actually rank all the runes in the game from most account profitable to least account profitable. Again, this is solely my opinion from just playing 10 months. If you disagree or want to add to it, please feel free to comment. Team Gold is the most endgame profitable for accounts, especially once you have more than 3 monsters in the same habitat. Why? Because once you have enough of them together, they can make more gold than just regular gold runes. Next is regular gold runes, which will boost a single monster's gold more than any other rune. Now a pro or great math wizard will realize the magic in combining both team gold on some monsters in a hab with, say, a high GPM monster wearing plain gold might even make more GPM than all team gold, but these two runes are at the top of my list for one simple reason, and I've said it before, they are the only rune that works 24 hours out of a day, 7 days a week. A speed only works when you're in battle, a strength rune only works when you hit a monster, a life rune only works when your monster is set to lose life, and the respective team runes of those are only set to function as backup to increase those results. Which brings me to the bottom of the list, stamina runes, which, to keep it simple, I'll just say they suck, and their main role is inside the rune crafter, whether it be changing them into different rune types or mutating them into different rune types. Now, where do runes come from? If you play daily, the game will give you many different runes for free, whether they be inside chests, inside events, rewards you earn, etc. But for the most part, the game only hands out level 6 runes and lower. Level 7 and higher are rare to come by and get rarer as the level increases. To my knowledge, it is fairly easy for a free-to-play to get about 3 level 7s and a team shop reward every month. So from this point on, I am only going to be talking about the endgame runes of 7 and up, and how to spend your attention on them. For the level 6 and lower runes, I would direct you to the link I left in the description for a video I already made a few weeks ago. Now there are many videos online that will show you how to use the 111x method to runecraft, so I won't cover that. But what I do want to cover is that all you free to play out there don't always get a lot of runes over level 6. So when you're trying to grow the ability of your account and only have so much to work with, it is highly important to reduce wasting your resources. And if you have already been trying to raise your runes by crafting, then you know it can be very taxing to make runes higher level than 6. So I want to better help all you free to play out there manage how you value your runes and future runes, and help you spenders out there who don't have tons of level 10s. But what you all do have is those monster rolls I talked about earlier, so I'm hoping this video will help you better gear them up to make more out of less. One of the most important things about being free to play or being a spender on a budget is having to tell yourself that the answer to your problem is not that you need something more, but that you need to make more out of something. I do not recommend trying to upgrade runes to higher levels unless you have extra runes of the previous level, or are in desperate need of upgrading one of your main team monsters who you have already determined to have a set role and purpose of use. The reason I don't recommend this is because you will not be able to swap rune types if you do not have extra of that level rune. So for example, say you get your first level 10 rune, but don't have any other level 10s. I do not recommend putting that on any of your monsters, but save it for Rune Lord flips for points. If you get your first level 9 and only own up to level 8s, I do not recommend putting that on a monster either. I recommend trying to craft it into your first 10 or back into an 8 to go with the rest of your 8s. Putting 8s and 9s on a monster when you only own up to 7s is the easiest way to rune lock a monster. Rune locking is when you are unable to change rune types on a monster. Now you may be saying you got a monster that you don't plan on ever changing rune types. Well then, I say to you, you're not paying attention, because all monsters should be considering swapping the gold runes when not being used. And I don't know about you, but even after a couple days of play, I eventually got to sleep, and I'm betting you do too. And since there are runes that work even when we sleep, there is no reason at all to neglect them. None. I don't care if you spend $1 grand a week on this game. Don't waste your potential. It just is not logical by no means. Yes, you spenders with hundreds of 10s and no golds, I'm talking to you. So on the screen I have listed 6 rune types and their stats from level 6 to 10. Since those of you who watched the video in the description will be working towards lots of level 6s, I started with them. But what I want to focus on is the 7 through 10s. If you notice, as the runes go up, most of their value increases begin to drop. But also notice how I said most and not all. If you take speed runes, for example, when going from 7 to 8, you get a 3% boost. And also when going from 8 to 9, you get a 3% boost. But when going from 9 to 10, you only get a 1% boost. And I don't know about you, but making level 10s as a free-to-play is very hard to do and requires a good bit of crafting fails along the way. But yet everyone wants to get those level 10 speeds like they are a must-have. But in my opinion, they are overrated for free-to-play. 9s are a lot less resources to craft. Also, every time you fail an attempt to make a 10 with the 111x method, you end up with a 9. So when looking at this list, what are the most valuable 9s? Speed runes, without a doubt. So I recommend anytime you are trying to make a level 10 from a 9, you either use 3 team gold level 1s, 3 regular gold level 1s, or 3 speed level 1s. This, I believe, is the best way to make failing a 10 not hurt as much across your account. Once you have a couple of level 10s, you can change their types to anything you want and change them back if you change your mind, at the small cost of just some gold. So with that logic, I never recommend trying to craft any other rune into a 10 from a 9. Now the monster rolls I talked about will not all require speed runes. Now I jumped to 10s just to prove there is a lot more to rune value than meets the common eye at first glance. We naturally just want to upgrade our monsters, and since they have different roles, they have different needs as well. The attacker will mainly need strength, the tank will mainly need life, the denier will mainly need speed, and supports will usually need team runes. Now, I didn't say attackers wear all strength or tanks wear all life. I said that their focus is on. A lot of times we will use speed runes to change the order of when we get our turn, or try to anyways. In my 10 months playing, I kind of came up with this saying a lot of times: if you're not first in a fight, you're last in a fight, which is why speed runes are the most valuable combat rune to me, and why I myself prioritize them first. If you look at team speed runes, something about them that is different from all the other runes is as you level them up, they always go up the same amount, 1%. And because of this, I find team speed to be the best welfare rune for free to play. What I mean by that is even without work, they can still pay the bills. So I usually never try to craft team speed, I just play with the ones the game gives me for free. Knowing that my team speed swaps are welfare, I keep that in mind when runing my support monsters. I never want to rune them with higher level runes than my team speeds, so that I can always swap team speeds to my support monsters. Other monster roles that can wear support runes effectively are tanks, and a lot of players, including myself, are guilty of rune locking a tank into life runes. And this may work for a lot of us, but one day you will be losing to someone and wish you could change some of those locked life runes for a team speed. Just the same way you will one day wish your attacker could change one of those high level attack runes for a speed rune. Now let's say you have been playing a while and you've been crafting the 6s and saving the 7s, and you finally have enough 7s that you're ready to start working on 8s. What should you do? Well, that's where it gets simple. Try to make level 8 speed runes. More roles require speed runes than any other roles. Deniers use them, attackers use them for turn order, supports also use them for turn order, but it isn't always that simple. You should first ask if any of your monster roles would help you win more fights if they had an upgrade, such as would you win more if your attacker got more strength or your tank got more life. If the answer is yes, then you would want to try and make a strength rune or a life rune for that upgrade. If you're saying 8 strength or 8 life isn't going to cut it, you need 10s, I say you need to go back to GPM school or pull out your wallet, because that is you saying you need more instead of making more out of what you have. So you work and you don't have time to craft runes and you plan to buy runes. I personally only recommend that you buy level 10 runes. The types don't matter because you can change them for merely gold. So if you are one of those spenders and you purchase a couple of 10s or even a handful of 10s, you still follow my logic. Don't put a 10 on unless you have at least 2. Always save your first 10 for Rune Lords, even if you bought it. Never rune lock your guys, meaning if you bought 5 10s, only put 4 on your monsters. Use the 5th for swapping. Also, just because you bought level 10s doesn't mean the game stopped handing you runes. It's still going to hand you those level 7s or higher from time to time. And to you I say, if you buy your 10s or have handfuls of 10s from being a long-term player, be very smart about where you place them. I would not recommend putting a level 10 somewhere you would ever need to use team runes unless you are not one with a budget, because a level 7 team speed can still be useful to you, but not if you can't wear it because all your monsters have level 10s on and you can't swap to 7s or 8s or 9s because of it. I would recommend you consider this, and rune monsters that need to be flexible, like support monsters or tanks or even attackers with more flexible runes, like progressively 7-7-10 to 7-8-10 to 8-8-10 to 7-10-10 to 8-10-10. I don't recommend spenders use 9s, because since you will be buying more 10s than 9s, it will be easier to just try to turn your 9s to 10s or back to 8s to give you more swap options. If you're someone who does go all 10s, you maybe still be able to swap everything you need, but remember, you will be neglecting a lot of runes and GPM if you cannot swap to gold runes when not using your monsters. And if this is you, I recommend you turn all level 8s and lower into gold runes, and just put them on your highest GPM monsters that are next to their respective gold boosts, and eventually once you have enough 10s to do all your swaps, start turning your extra 10s to gold runes as well. Now back to my free-to-play siblings. I told you how to make failing to make a 10 hurt your account less. But once you successfully make the level 10 Team Gold, Regular Gold, or Speed Rune, I don't intend for you to keep it that type. That was just to reduce the pain of failing. If you were successful and now have a level 10 that is extra, I suggest you go over your monster rolls and find out what is the best upgrade that will let you win more. If the answer is Denier, keep it Speed. If the answer is Attacker, then make it a Strength. If the answer is Tank, then make it a Life. Team runes I basically only ever consider wearing when trying to support, so I hardly ever craft them myself. I find that when I use the team shop to buy runes, I have a 50% chance of getting a team rune, and that is more than enough for me. And most of the time when I have handfuls of a rune level, it is almost always the speed rune or team runes that I have extra of. Following this method, so those are usually the level 7s and 8s that I try to upgrade. Team Stamina runes are the least useful runes to me and are usually the first ones I try to change the type of in hopes that they go up a level or stay the same but actually change type. And what I do to try and save my account in case of failing is turn them to gold runes. Why? Because at this point I usually have other runes and don't have gold runes to swap, and I should have gold runes to swap before moving up to the next rune level. But if you look at my personal account, you will see that I am not perfect myself, and I do not have gold swaps for every rune that I own. But I say to you, know that with this knowledge I have, I am working every day to create more swaps and get as close to following this method as I can, because I know it to be the correct way to value my runes. But I also get greedy, and I want my attackers to be stronger, my tanks to take more damage, my deniers to be faster. But I am taking this time to share this because I have recently ran into regrets that I covered in this video. Like not being able to change my Santa to team speed runes because he wears 2 times level 10 life, and I don't own level 10 team runes for a reason. They are not worth upgrading team runes if you're free to play. You will upgrade enough of them by accident or receive higher ones from the shop or rewards of luck. But Santa is a very special tank. Him being the only tank in the game with Mega Taunt trait makes him, in my opinion, the only arguable tank to Rune Lock. If Santa is better with a rune swap to team speed, for example, then you are just using him for Mega Taunt and not for his trait. And there are many other tanks in the game that can fill that role of just being used for Mega Taunt. And those are the tanks you should want to be sure to always be able to change their runes to team runes when in need of supporting your team to get you more wins that had you been rune locked, you would not have been able to win. So in case you have some simple questions like, hey Jumper, I have a bunch of level 7s and I upgraded 7 to an 8 speed twice now, but my attacker only needs 1, how do I get him an 8 strength and keep this second speed for swaps? The answer is go to the team shop and try to buy a level 8 strength. You should be able to purchase from the team shop about once a month or more, and with that purchase, I always recommend you try to get something you actually need right now. I never recommend buying gold runes from the shop. Let gold runes be your winning fails. Purchase what you need when you need it. If you can only buy 7s, remember, there's still a good chance of getting 8s. If you've seen my recent video of spending movie keys, you watch me get a level 8 out of those 4 to 10 chests. Alright people, so if I missed something, which I'm sure I did, it's hard to recall everything at once on command. Just feel free to ask me. I do my best to try to reply to every comment. Also, know that I am rarely in front of a PC anymore and only use my phone, so when I reply to comments and then people reply back to that reply, I never get a notification from YouTube. I basically just notice my comment count has changed and go looking. Unless you somehow at me, which appears sometimes after clicking reply. I hope this video helps any of you get a better management system started on your account. And remember, who wins today isn't always who wins tomorrow, so never forget about GPM. It is the most important part of this game for free to play. and second most important for spenders aside from the money in their wallet. This is just runes. GPM is the foundation of runes. Every time you put a 4444 in the crafter to get a 5, you delete 3 runes from your account. Every time you put a 1114 in the crafter and get a 3, you only deleted gold from your account. Gold is also the foundation of farming food, hence why the food boost is really just another gold boost. It's also the core of feeding monsters to max level to extract for more cells. It's also the foundation of leveling relics that cost food. And it's also a very important core of gem-free race points. I would like to thank everyone who supports my channel by coming to watch my videos or leaving comments and feedback. Since you support me, I want to support you with free knowledge. Thank you and peace out.